Waiters. What's the most infuriating thing you've seen on the job? I was working the evening shift at this upscale Italian place when that couple walked in. They were linking arms, both in tears, and the second me and my colleagues saw them, we started rushing around and setting everything into place. You see, this restaurant was more than just special to this couple. This was the restaurant the husband proposed to her at, and they had always planned to one day recreate the dinner they had that night here. Same outfits, same drinks, same meals, but life got in the way. They moved abroad and never found the time to come back, and now she was dying. On her head wasn't her real hair, it was a wig, and she had no more than a month left to live. And although she looked drop-dead gorgeous, you could tell that behind her perfect makeup and her beautiful dress, she was pale, thin, and in pain. The husband told me prior that when they found out she was dying, they dropped everything and moved back here, and now with a month left to live, they were coming here to recreate the proposal dinner. It was the last thing on her bucket list. The night was set to be absolutely perfect. The chef had been prepping their dinner and getting it ready for the last 3 days. The exact table they sat at was covered in rose petals, just like it was 5 years ago, and we even played the same mellow songs, all to make this perfect for them. But of course, things never turn out perfect. When our owner, a hard ass who cared about profit more than anything else, saw them walk in, he began pacing around frantically in the kitchen. "We can't serve them! What if she dies right here? I'll be sued! It'll cost me a fortune. I need to kick them ASAP." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He proceeded to grab my arm and pull me into the corner. "Joe, I'm not kidding. Get them out now." I yanked my arm away and told him they had a reservation and already paid a deposit. His face turned red and he started going off again about lawsuits. They're probably planning this, hoping she croaks here so the husband can sue me for millions. I tried explaining that they just wanted one special night, but he cut me off. "If you won't tell them to leave, I will," he said, and began storming toward the dining room. That's when I panicked and grabbed our head chef Marco's shoulder. Marco was this incredible head chef. He was the reason this place was so successful. He was the only person Marcus actually feared losing. His face went dark when I told him what the owner was doing. His own wife had died of cancer 2 years ago, and he still wore his wedding ring. He immediately stepped right in front of the owner and blocked his path. "You take one more step toward that table, and I walk out that door forever." The owner laughed, but Marco didn't. "I have 3 Michelin stars to my name. You own a restaurant. Who do you think needs who more?" The whole kitchen went silent. I was caught in the crosshairs, watching what was happening, but also keeping an eye out on the couple, and they were lost in their own world. She was touching the rose petals and crying while he held her hands across the table. I could tell he was trying not to cry too. Back in the kitchen though, the owner was turning purple. He kept ranting about lawsuits and liability, but Marco just stood there like a wall. Finally, the owner cracked. "Fine, but if anything happens, I'm holding you personally responsible." Marco just nodded and immediately got back to work. The whole rest of that night was this chaotic synergy between the dining room where love was winning and the kitchen where we were protecting that love from our awful boss. I served them their calamari, and she actually ate almost all of it. Her husband started crying and told me it was the most she'd eaten in weeks. When I brought out their entrees, the same pasta dishes from 5 years ago, she looked up at me with these bright eyes and said, "Everything is exactly perfect." Other tables started sending over wine and desserts. One older couple paid for their entire meal without saying a word. The whole restaurant became this protective bubble around them, while Marcus sulked in his office watching the security cameras. As they left, every server lined up to say goodbye. Marco himself came out and kissed her hand like she was royalty, but Marcus stayed hidden in his office like a coward. 28 days later, the husband sent us a letter. She'd passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her last words were about how perfect that night had been, and how it felt even better than the proposal, because now she knew their love story had really gone full circle. He thanked us for giving her that gift.